Good morning.
Morning.
Is there anyone out there? Good morning and welcome to the Camera Life podcast, brought to you by Lucky Camera Straps out of Bendigo, Victoria. This is episode 37 of the podcast, and it's the 7th of November. Can you believe how close we are to Christmas, Jim?
It's crazy. Yeah,
It's crazy.
it really is.
Yep. Welcome back, Jim. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
You've been recovering from some procedures recently, so you've been feet up playing
Yep.
video games all day, from what Justin tells me.
Yeah, lots of resting.
Lots of resting, lots of PlayStation, whatever it
Yep.
takes.
Yes,
Are,
that's
are,
right.
are you a gamer? Do you like playing games?
Limited, yeah.
Yeah.
In and out every year or so, maybe in for a couple of weeks and then out.
And move on. Yeah.
Yeah, not so much.
I play a fair bit of video games. We're a big gaming household.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
What's
more
your...
of a Nintendo.
Yep.
Always have been, always will be. I've got it tattooed on my arm. See, I've got Mario. That's how dedicated I am.
Committed.
Yeah, that's the only
Committed to it.
tattoo I've got. It's the only thing I have. So, welcome. If you're listening along at home or at work, secretly, while the boss isn't looking, welcome to the show. As you'll notice, Justin isn't with us today, but we do have Jim back, which is amazing. Wonderful to have you back, mate.
you.
Where's Justin?
I
Where's
think
he at?
I think he's in Vietnam.
He is in Vietnam. Do you know if he went to Hanoi?
I
Not sure what part of
actually don't
Vietnam.
know any of his
No.
plans.
No, I don't think he had any plans. I'm surprised if he even got there. So he's currently in Hanoi. Now, he does plan to dial in at some stage. Well, he hopes to, based on whether his internet is up to it.
Yep.
So Justin and Yelena are currently in Vietnam, traveling, and just for leisure, not necessarily work-related as far as we know. It's currently, what is it now? It's currently 5 a.m. in Hanoi. It might be a bit early to expect him to dial in.
Yeah. I didn't even
But
get
it
an
is-
airport video photo from him.
You didn't?
No, so if he didn't send the photo, it mustn't have happened.
Did you drive him to? I know you wouldn't have driven him to the airport. There's no airport in Bendigo.
Well, there is. Doesn't fly to Vietnam though, just to Sydney.
No, I didn't think it would. No. But yeah, look, it's early in Vietnam, in Hanoi anyway. 70% humidity at 5 a.m. Yuck. Couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
no, thank you.
No. I remember when I went to Japan a couple of times in the summer, or it was just after summer. It was like September. It was still kind of warm, but the humidity was killer.
Really? Yeah, okay. I've only been in winter in Japan,
Yeah.
so it's different.
Yeah, it's really like it's just oppressive. And Kyoto was worse than Tokyo, much worse. I don't know why. It must be to do with the mountains. We'll just blame the mountains. Anyway, we're off topic. Photography
Yes.
podcast. So, Jim, you've been recovering recently. I don't imagine you've done much photography, although we did recently see a little video snippet of you holding a camera in your hand.
Yeah.
Have you been able to do any other camera work?
No, not really. I'm sort of a little bit limited at the moment. I'm just trying to focus on rehab. So I haven't shot for a little while.
Yep, fair enough. Do you miss it?
Yeah, I do actually.
Are you aching for it? Like, is it an itch that you want to scratch, that you want to get back into it, or is it?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy. I think it's maybe starting it will seems a little daunting, but I think once I'm in, and then your head's just kind of just flowing.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Good to get.
Do you
back
know when
into
your
it.
first gig is? Do you
Not
have
at the
anything
moment, no.
booked? No.
No.
Fair enough.
Oh, I've
Time
got
will
some
tell.
stuff booked in next year. Sorry, but
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
yeah.
I meant like this year.
yeah, no, not at the moment.
So what is it? 7th of November. It's like 6 or 7 weeks till Christmas. For those of you listening along at home that have young kids, all my kids are mostly grown up adults, but they still behave like kids sometimes. Well, they are my kids. They're more less enthusiastic about Christmas as they get older. Now you've got a daughter who's younger.
Yeah, she's 5, so Christmas is big.
Christmas is huge for a 5-year-old. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm off topic again. I do want to share this video that Jim sent through to me. Let me share my screen. We'll just get this out of the way first, Jim.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's share a screen. allow. Here we go. This is from Lucky Straps. Recently, I don't know if anyone can see that. Can anyone see that? There's Yelena. There's our man Jim. There's Grant.
And Justin, well, obviously he's behind
he's holding
the
the
iPhone.
camera.
Yeah.
Yep. Where was that shoot done?
This is the old multi-story car park in Bendigo. So it's not as nice as the new multi-story car park, but it's far greater for photo shoots and stuff like that. And as soon as Justin kind of mentioned that he wanted to do a shoot, I knew that would be a good location at that time of day. So
nice.
There's some good shadows and a bit of backlight and stuff like that. So
now you were doing that shoot for a special reason, and I'm going to share that reason. Do you want to talk us through why you guys were up on the rooftop in the wind?
Well, like you, Greg, I've got my new. I probably can't see it because I've got the black on black.
Yeah, do like
the Lucky camera straps merch that's come out. So we're now live on the website with that. And we just wanted to, obviously had to shoot all the merch so we can get it online so that we can let other people enjoy it as well as much as us.
So these are the shots from the shoot from that video you guys just watched. For those of you listening along to audio podcast, Lucky Straps have just announced or just launched their apparel merchandise line, which at the moment offers a range of hoodies in different colors and some t-shirts, which Justin and Jim and I have been wearing for a number of weeks now, and Yelena. And they're now live. Now, when Justin and I went to BFOP, to the Bright Festival of Photography, we had lots of people asking about merch, which was great. So it'd be interesting to see, Jim, what the orders are like when they come through.
Yes. Yeah. We had a little website issue the other day, so it's all sorted now. So we'll hopefully be good to go. Very
nice. I do like this relaxed hoodie.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
I've got a black with gold hoodie, I think. But they're very nice. I think Justin gave a few away at BFOP.
Yeah.
A few t-shirts and hoodies and bits and pieces, which was great. So so if you're in the market for some new summer t-shirts or a hoodie for nighttime shoots, check out the Lucky Straps page. And pick up some merch.
So that was a little bit of photography that I've done recently.
It was.
Actually, now, all those photos.
Yep.
Sorry, I was going to say both Justin and I shot them. So Justin was shooting the R6 Mark II.
Yep.
And I had the Z8 and we both had 51.2s. So, and they've actually all been processed with the same Lightroom preset. So,
yep.
Color profile seems to work pretty well.
Yeah. No, they're good shots. They're really good looking shots.
Justin was teasing that you could definitely tell which was the better ones.
I can't tell.
Yeah, I can't tell either.
No. He's got to justify all those camera purchases somehow.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
I told him that the Canon shots were, they were okay too.
Yeah, that was
all right.
soft.
The Nikon was better.
Yeah, a bit soft. Very cool. All right, so that's enough plugging Lucky Straps for the time being. We do have a bit of a task to fulfill today. But Justin, I don't know if you guys were watching. For anyone that was watching last week, and anyone that follows along on our YouTube channel, you know that Justin loves a photography challenge. So he's recently kind of retired, I guess, from doing events and weddings with Jim and Justin Wedding Photography. So now, Jim, you're soloing mostly the weddings, and you've also got your own boudoir photography business in the works. And so Justin's been he's been a bit of a lost child. He's been trying to find his direction and what his new focus is for photography. He's obviously been doing some mountain bike stuff, which is amazing. And he's working exclusively with a couple of brands there to help promote their bikes. But when we were at the Bright Festival, one of the workshops that Justin did, it was actually a 2-day workshop, and it was storytelling through photography. So it was looking for taking a bunch of images and being able to condense your images down to just a handful. I think 12 was the brief for the BFOP workshop. And so over the course of the weekend, Justin had that project in mind while we were away and took a bunch of shots. And you can see those shots are actually on the Lucky Straps website in the blog that I wrote about BFOP and Lucky Straps' involvement at BFOP. All of the images are from Justin's storytelling through photography project that he completed for the workshop. And I think it's great to have, we talked last week a lot about having challenges and getting involved in a whole range of different things to help motivate and inspire photography. But Justin has given Jim and I access to his Dropbox and his current selection of 12 photos that he's done in the past week. And so I want to bring those. Should we bring those up now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Might as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can share this screen. Share screen. Oh, no. Where are you? Can't share that one. A window? Here we go. Let's share this window. All right. Can everyone see those? Let me go back up to the top. So this is Justin's pool theme. Let me just read his notes quickly. Sorry. So these are all unedited, straight out of camera JPEGs that Justin shot with his Canon R5 Mark II and his 50mm 1.2 prime lens. And the question that he has posed to us is, are these just happy snaps, or did I find something more? Do these, tell a story? And so we're going to go through the images and how do you think we should handle this, Jim?
What in what way, sorry?
Like review
Just
one at a time or go through them and then...
Maybe we can go through them and then we can go back and
we'll go through them. Make sure I'm on the right page. Yep. So a little tugboat in water.
Vaughan and Nash.
They're his nephews?
Yes.
Yep. Is that his sister?
I think that's Justin's mum.
Oh, well, she's very young looking.
That's Nash.
That's very cute. So you're probably starting to pick up a bit of a theme here for those of you watching along. That's very cute.
Justin's sister.
Ah, okay.
The half in the pool shot.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
He must have been right at the edge of the pool. Oh, that's wonderful.
He was probably, knowing Justin, he was in the water.
Yeah?
Yeah, he wouldn't be too phased about jumping into a pool with a camera.
Yep. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So for those of you watching along and those of you listening along, I'm sorry, this is a very visual process. We're going through a range of photos that Justin has shot with his Canon R5 Mark II and the 51.2mm lens. He's looking at storytelling through a collection of images. In this case, it's 12 images. And I think you can see there's a very strong, obviously a pool theme, maybe weekend, Australian weekend in the sun kind of thing. The kids are very... This is before getting in the water. It's Justin's mum. And here they are getting ready to go for a swim.
I think that's my favourite photo.
Yeah, we'll go back from the top. Sorry, we'll just go slowly through them. So we've got the tugboat. We've got the boys getting ready. That looks like a remote control. I wonder if there's a car or a boat in the water.
I think that's the first boat, the little tugboat.
Ah, wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Oh, I kind of want one. That's a wonderful shot. I love the way that the
cheek,
the cheek's being smushed and the sun cream's being wiped. I think it's really, it invokes a lot as an Aussie kid of having to stand still and
the distaste.
And then having to do it with my own kids and appreciating their frustration, but still getting frustrated with it. Yeah, it's a very Aussie thing to do.
Yeah.
Slather that on. Do you remember I don't know, maybe you're not old enough. Do you remember Hypercolor Zinc?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to wear that to the local pool. And you'd get like the thick color. It would take like 3 showers to get it all off because it was just probably terrible for you.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be great.
Nah. I really like that one, but only because it's got a dog in it.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. I think this is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a wonderful shot. You can kind of put yourself in his place.
Yeah. I think, yeah. And it looks like it's probably wide open too at one point too.
Yeah, because this is all very soft here. I mean, it is a Canon lens, but there's a sharp plane you can see that sort of travels across here at this lower third.
Yeah.
So good framing on Justin's part, even if he was in the water.
Yeah. I think he was probably definitely in the water, but...
Oh, went too far. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that one's cool too. That one. A couple more. Yeah, that's nice. There's that. Still just little, you know, being wrapped up by mum, and that's very cool. Yeah, I think for me, this shot here, which is number 8, is probably my favorite. And you were happy with
the sunscreen one.
Sunscreen one, yeah, that's a wonderful one too. So, do you think that Justin's images tell that story, tell a story? What do you see?
Yeah, I think that pool party kind of Sunday at, the grandparents' house kind of story is what I'm getting from it.
Yeah. And if you can remove yourself from the context of knowing Justin and the boys and the family, do you still see the same story?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think he's included, like the mum on the lawn.
Yeah.
There's some sort of extra context that, you maybe wouldn't necessarily think to include.
Yeah. Like here's Yelena.
Yeah.
Here's Justin's sister. Here's his dad, I assume?
That's Justin's dad, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a family day.
Yeah. I think the only photo for me that repeats is probably the last two.
Yeah, they're a bit too close, aren't they?
Yeah. Just
Which
that
do
they're
you think
similar.
is...
So maybe if there was maybe there was something else that would, I guess, also tell the story, but that's probably the only photo that kind of repeats.
Which one would you keep in the group? This one?
Oh,
or does this one tell enough?
I think that one tells enough for me.
Yeah, I kind of like that one better.
Yeah. I think it also sort of highlights this, the smallness of the feet and against mum's body kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that something different in there.
Yeah.
I think he did replace this one. He did have a different one in, but because we were going to show it on here, he opted to not include it. So maybe that's why there's two that's similar. Yeah, because I think there was one where it was probably too revealing.
Yeah.
You know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But still, yeah. I really like this. This is really wonderful. It reminds me of those, how often people who, and we did it with our own kids when they were newborns even, taking photos of their feet and hands because of that size. And you're never going to have that again. Like they're going to grow up so fast that remembering that, a newborn's foot's like that.
Yeah.
I think there's something really special about photographing children's feet when they're little. But yeah, I think it's a good collection. I think he's hit the mark.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely told a story. There's a really nice, and I guess having grown up doing similar things, it invokes this kind of whimsy of what it was like as a kid when you knew you were going to either, whether it be family or we had family friends who lived nearby who had a pool, and if we were going there, that was pretty cool. Like we got pretty excited and you'd spend the whole, afternoon and evening in your bathers with a towel wrapped around you.
Yeah. You get dry and then you get wet again.
Yeah, like you just, especially on warm days where you're running in and out of the pool and the hot concrete and all of those feelings come out of this storytelling for me.
Is there anything that you don't I guess don't like or could critique?
I think this is good. I think it's slightly overexposed,
Yeah.
but it's a JPEG challenge and he was standing in a pool, so I'll cut him some slack. No, I think they're all good. I think they're all really good. This one is there's kind of a few with the sun cream theme.
Yeah.
So we've got this, which is wonderful. I'd probably put this one first.
Yeah.
And then this. This one, it's got the dog in it, so I guess there's a different element here. And yes, it's got another sunscreen shot, but come on.
That's the dog. Yeah, the dog's the hero.
The dog's part of the, yep. But no, I think they're all good. I think, maybe this one, I mean, he's shooting JPEG, he's in a pool, the kids are jumping.
Yeah.
Maybe it's sort of half a frame too soon. But yeah. But for anyone that watches this, sorry for audio listeners, it's been a bit of a tough sell for you guys. But for anyone that watches this or is watching now or watches this down the track, jump in the comments and let us know what you think about Justin's selection of 12 images for storytelling. We've acknowledged that 11 and 12 are very similar. I like them both, but I think 12 would be the keeper. I just want to point out again to people that look at this later that Justin had to replace the original number 11 image because it was too revealing and he didn't want it to be such a public thing because this is his family. But yeah, that's what he's been up to. I think it'll be interesting to see. How do I stop sharing my window? Be interesting to see what he comes up with while he's away, because he's going to have his eyeballs and earballs completely assaulted with imagery and sound, and I mean, I've never been to Vietnam. Have you ever been to Vietnam?
No, I haven't.
No. I remember my parents went a couple of years ago. I mean, they were on a bus tour kind of thing, so they were, mostly sheltered from the rawness of it. But I remember them saying just how busy and noisy many parts of it seemed.
Can be overwhelming to begin with, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. But it was like my first time to Japan. Like that was really, I loved it. And it was like as a street photographer, it was like stepping out into a fever dream, but it was overwhelming. There was so many people and so much noise. Did you find that when you went to Japan the first time?
Yes and no. I think Japan was different because it was so clean.
Yeah.
Whereas I found when we went to Cambodia the first time, we'd gone straight from Australia to Japan, then to Cambodia. So we've gone from kind of cold to hot, and then that was a huge shock to the system of the difference of I guess the two countries. So
I guess Japan's more organized chaos.
Yes. Yep.
Orderly chaos. Yeah.
And everything's very modern and
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it'd be good to see what he comes up with. I don't know if he's going to have a chance to dial in, but hopefully we hear from him before too long. Something I wanted to talk to you about, Jim, because you and Justin have run a professional photography business for well over a decade now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Would that be right? Justin and Jim for 10 years, and you've been going solo for about a year, would it be?
No, Justin's sort of been slowly cutting back for about 6 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So you guys have had, expectations and the need to make sure that your images are stored correctly and backed up. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a position where, I'm running my new MacBook. I went out and bought a new SSD for it because I wanted it to be all quick with Lightroom.
Yes.
Now, I'm not shooting professional weddings and I'm not shooting many paid gigs these days. Most of my photography is for reviews, obviously for my own enjoyment when I do street. but mostly for reviews and product shots and things like that. So my need for backup isn't as dire or as essential, but I still want to have a backup that's away from home, not attached to my SSD or my computer. Did you guys ever look into like cloud services? Do you use a cloud-based storage for your images at the moment?
No, we don't use a cloud.
You don't?
No. So like we run a physical offsite.
Yeah.
That's I don't know what Justin does now. I know he's still got like a RAID on site and different sort of external hard drives.
Yeah.
And I've sort of got similar here, but I also run a physical offsite.
Okay. And so you set Lightroom to just do an automatic update to the offsite drive, or is it all managed through third-party software?
No, it's full manual. So I download directly to my MacBook to sort of for the fastest working speeds. For the working drive there, and then sort of make up my backups from there. I've got an iMac that then sort of runs the RAID, and sort of our older, different sort of older backup hard drive. So that's kind of running that. Whereas my iMac, the MacBook Pro, is sort of what I work off. And then also plug in for the offsite, and I just leave that in the car. So it's sort of, if the house burns down, I've got a copy.
Yep. Fair enough. Because I was looking at different options for. I was looking at cloud storage because I was thinking, well, I could go out and spend $200 on another SSD, or more, $300 or whatever it's going to cost.
Very expensive.
But I like them for the speed. And I'm not doing massive batches either, so, but I was looking at some different options, whether it be Dropbox or Google Drive, or just stick with Adobe's Creative Cloud, cloud storage. And I just wanted to know if you had any experience with those, or if anyone listening does, feel free to jump in the comments or shout out and let us know.
I use Dropbox for sharing, but not for physical storage, like backup storage. And some clients prefer that you're not storing on a cloud. There's less chance of security breaches and stuff like that. But it's probably low level risk.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, for me it is. Because when I had my iMac running, I had 3 Lacy drives. They were hard drives, so spinning discs, and they were great. But 2 of them have since failed.
Okay.
And so when I set up this MacBook, I opted to go with a bit of a clean slate. I started a whole new Lightroom catalog because the other one I had was, it was 8 years old and it was messy.
Huge.
I thought, I thought I've got that backed up twice. So if I need to it's very rare that I need to go back and pull photos from, old experiences. And I was just trying to work out what to do with backing up files. So I looked into, Adobe, my current Lightroom plan, it's Adobe photography plan. So you get Lightroom and Photoshop, and you get 20 gigabytes of cloud storage, but you can upgrade it. You can double the price. So that's about 15 Australian dollars. You can go to like almost 30 Australian dollars and you'll get 2 terabytes of cloud storage.
Yeah.
And that's $30. That's per month. And I thought that extra $15 is actually quite good because, I like the fact that it's paid monthly, as much as many people don't like Lightroom subscriptions.
I definitely don't like them.
Yeah. But, so around $15 a month will get me 2 terabytes, and you can upgrade that. But interesting, on their website, there's a Australian 1-800 number to call if you want to go above 2 terabyte. So you actually call them to ask.
Have you looked into it at all?
I haven't looked. No, I haven't called them to ask because I couldn't see any pricing. I'm sure if I did a Google search, I'd find it. But Yeah, I didn't see any pricing on that. It's kind of more call and discuss. I think, they want you to call so they can discuss business plans. And because if
Yeah.
you're looking at adding 3, 5, 10 terabytes of storage to the cloud, then your needs are fairly big. You're dealing with big files. Chances are you're a professional photographer or a videographer.
Yeah, it
You
would.
know,
I'd need a fair bit of storage, unfortunately.
yeah,
Even if just storing JPEGs or something like.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I do need to be pretty big.
yeah. So, and that's the other thing. Do I bother keeping raw files on my cloud, or do I just use it for a JPEG backup?
Probably, I think JPEG backup, but
Yeah,
I'd want to have a copy of the RAWs, or at least the
somewhere.
RAWs that you like that you want that you culled, from the
Yeah,
shoot.
yeah.
I'm not sure. Like when you shoot street photography, are you shooting a lot and getting like
No, not
5,
really.
10 images, or are you sort of quite calculated and
Yeah, it's more calculated
Mhm.
and I don't shoot in bursts, so I don't have to scroll through
Yeah,
countless photos to work out which one I like the best. It's more about being in the moment and making sure you've got everything set up, your composition's right, the light's in the right angle, and the right person walks through.
Mhm.
It's very unlikely that I'll take multiple shots of that scene.
Yeah,
If I feel satisfied with the composition I got, then I'll move to the next spot. You know.
Mhm.
So a street walk, I might come back with say 200 shots over a couple of hours,
yeah,
and then yeah, I might get 10, I might get none that I want to keep out of that. It just depends on you know what the situation was and how the images turned out, and
yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Do you ever revisit them or anything like that? Look back at,
Sometimes I do.
and sort of go, oh, maybe I missed this the first run, the first time I went through it.
Yeah, I did that with my first trip to Tokyo. I was so excited to be there with a camera. I was only there for 7 days. I took about 7,500 photos
Hmm.
because everything was just, what it's like.
Yeah.
Everything you lay your eyes on, it's just like, oh my God, that's art. Oh my God, that's amazing. Like,
Hmm.
there was just so much to see, and I was so excited. Um, and then I created a kind of a photo book, and I wrote my own blog at the same time, which I was posting photos to my blog about my travels. But I kept going back and revisiting and doing new collections. So like how like albums have an A side and a B side, and people always sort of felt like the B side was the less attractive songs or the less
Hmm.
the appealing. Well, I kind of had the B sides, Tokyo
Hmm.
2015, the B sides, and then I ended up having the C and the D sides and the E sides because I kept going back and seeing, and I think as my editing skills improved as well,
Yeah.
and as the way that I look at images and the way that I see a value in something that previously I thought was sloppy work, actually as a street photographer, looking at it with a different kind of set of eyes on it, I saw opportunity to sort of, you know, have another go at it. And
Yeah.
sometimes it was simple as, I didn't like the colors in the first few runs when I looked at them. So I went back and converted it to black and white and, played around with contrast and exposure in Lightroom and came out with images that I absolutely loved, but I'd completely disregarded previously.
Yeah. That's good. I think sometimes revisiting things.
Yeah, I think so. Especially years later, because it will
Mm.
teach you a lot about what you were thinking at the time too,
Yeah.
and how you chose to edit them back then, and that sort of thing. And I think also, and what I try to do now, I try to be more calculating now with on my iMac. I kept every photo I took, and now that I've moved to this, and I want to keep everything running smoothly and keep it very minimal, in terms of not bulking up on storage just for the sake of it. I'm very selective about deleting the photos as I import.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past I would keep them, but my labeling and tagging system was useless. So very rarely could I find stuff without scrolling through months and years of
Yeah.
files. So it's kind of my own worst enemy with that sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not like I have to find images for a client
No.
in a
No, it's
pinch
just
or But yeah, it is interesting. And looking into this whole cloud storage thing, I'm thinking, well, if it's $15 a month extra on top of my Lightroom photography plan, which I know is nothing, over a year, what's that going to be? I can't do the math. $180 over a year, which is, again, not bad at all. It's good. Or do I just buy a really good quality SSD that's going to last me 2 to 3 years for about $200-300, So I'm kind of in the pros and cons stage of thinking about cloud storage, or is it good having cloud storage because, especially for JPEGs, because they'll transfer quickly, and then they're technically offsite.
Yeah.
So there's
I like having my own backup, but I think maybe for what you're doing, maybe the cloud is a better system.
Yeah. And then I thought about maybe just doing Dropbox, although I find Dropbox is kind of expensive in comparison. You said you use Dropbox for sharing, I imagine, with clients and
for sending sort of commercial work and stuff like that. It seems to be super easy. You can just send a link and they can just download them super fast.
So I don't know how easy that would be with a Adobe Creative Cloud platform that people can access them if you want them to. But what do you know roughly what Dropbox costs?
I should know, and I don't. It's just a cost that comes in.
Yeah.
I don't even know what plan I'm on or how much.
Yeah. I like the idea of Dropbox because it is universal and you don't need a Google account to access files and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so I'll continue the exploration of that one. But if anyone's listening and you have ideas about data storage for your photos, what do you do? Do you do backups, or you just trust or do you just purely use your computer built-in storage? Have you explored cloud storage options? What do you think? Let us know, because I'm really keen to find out what people are doing, and just get some options, get some ideas. So please share. There's Editor Seb. That's my son. What's Jim's method for backup? Does he use Dropbox for that too? No. If you were listening, son, Jim said he uses hard drives, and he's got a RAID system at home. Is that right?
Yes. Jim? Yep. So I got a RAID, as well as just a number of external drives. So for various different things. So running the smaller drives for like a working backup, and then some larger external hard drives for long-term backups along with the RAID. And then also an external
copy.
External copies, yeah. So, but I'm sort of working drive is my MacBook Pro.
Yeah, because it's the fastest.
Yeah. I did buy an SSD when I bought this, as sort of the plan was to work off both, but it got full and then it sort of got too. Yeah, it's just easier to work just straight off the MacBook for me.
Yeah. I didn't share that comment. Sorry, everyone. This is Seb. Editor Seb is my son. We're pretty sure. What's Jim's method for backups? Does he use Dropbox for that? And then Seb continues with, apologies, father. Thanks, Jim. I love hearing about other people's setups.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
And Paul Henderson. G'day, Paul. Good morning. I wonder about cloud storage as well, but does it lock you in as it gets harder to shift? I do use the 1 terabyte that comes with Office 365 for my absolute favorites.
Yeah. It probably does lock you in a little bit. It just makes it harder to, if at some point you need to move it.
Yeah. And I do worry about things. Some drives, like Google, there's all this talk about AI learning, and sites are using, I think Facebook might be using your images to train its AI. And I imagine Google's got something similar going on. because they have obviously Drive and Google Photos or Google Images, sorry. So yeah, it is interesting too whether it is actually safe as well. And yes, once you're in there, it's kind of like, well, how do you move it all to another cloud service? How does that?
Yeah, it's probably the same as running a hard drive though. If you've got a hard drive and you need to, it's getting old, or you're concerned about it, or you just want to make a backup, you've still got to transfer it. Like it's still a tedious task.
You want a good internet connection for that.
Yeah, I haven't had many clients ask about it, but one client was specific that they didn't want anything on a cloud service. And they specifically asked about my backup procedures,
wow.
and they mentioned that they definitely didn't want it on a cloud of any kind.
Maybe they've been burnt before by something.
Yeah, I think that they were just very conscious of their face and likeness being out, on the internet and stuff like that. So I think they were very sort of private people and wanted to keep it that way.
That's fair. And so did you do you deliver their files just on a stick, on a USB or a drive?
Yeah. I think I even drove it to them. Can't remember if I drove it to them or I posted it, but USB, sort of old school.
Yeah. But it works.
Not even like a Dropbox download and then get rid of it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, that's what I used to do when I was doing paid gigs. I'd just put it I'd give them 2 USBs, especially if it was a couple. So here's one for you and here's one for you. So, and do you guarantee that you will hold a copy of your client's photos for them? And is there like a duration? Is it part of your contract?
No, it's not. We haven't deleted anything. Where we think we hope we're pretty good at our backup system that we kind of implemented in the early days, and I'm very grateful that we did kind of do a good job of it. Labeling and everything like that. Had a couple of things, you do make mistakes, and having multiple backups, like having 3 copies of everything, is a must. Because one time I went to look for something, it wasn't on the RAID, but it was on the external because it had obviously accidentally been deleted off the RAID. It was moved or something like that. Or it wasn't in the right spot for whatever reason. But we had the images. They just weren't exactly where they needed to be. So having the multiple copies kind of saves potential issues. So, but we don't
worry about RAID. Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say, I do worry about RAID systems because they're quite old technology. I guess it depends on the quality of the system, like anything else. And how many drives you put in it and all that sort of stuff. And the cost is quite prohibitive. Prohibitive?
Yes.
Prohibitive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a big upfront.
Ours was very expensive, and then we expanded it. And last year we in our old office, we used to get power outages quite a bit. And we lost a few drives. And we'd get power outages. The electrician would come in for the bakery and just flick the power off because he didn't know what that switch does. And we lost multiple drives that day.
Oh, wow.
So, now I've got a UPS. So,
that was when the office was the old walk-in fridge.
The old cool room. So.
Yeah, the cool room. That's it.
Yeah,
I visited that place once.
Yeah, it was very cool. Need to go get our sign, actually. It's still out the front.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Been a bit slack.
I'm sure it's on Justin's to-do list.
Yeah, definitely.
No, very good. Okay, well, that's given me some stuff to think about. The cost isn't too bad for Adobe, but...
It's just a compounding cost, I think, is, every year. That's locking you in.
Yeah, I think that is a problem. And, then once all your stuff's there, they put the price up. It's easier just to keep it with them than to move it. And
yeah, for sure.
But I want something that's reliable and that's, photography centric. So they kind of get what they're not compressing files or, whatever.
Yeah.
Just because it's just a storage drive, not a photography cloud service.
Do you use
very
JPEG
good.
Mini? Speaking of compressing,
No, I don't use JPEG Mini. What's that?
I'm probably going to stuff up the description of it, but it's an awesome little plugin. We run everything through it. It kind of strips all the excess data out of JPEGs, and like usually pulls about 30 to 40% out, and it's just all the stuff that's not there. No quality loss, no size loss.
Well, that's good. And is that a Lightroom plugin?
You can plug it into Lightroom. We had issues a while ago, so now I just run it standalone. But yeah, just drop it. You can just drop a whole folder in there or multiple folders. It just goes and does its thing. You can even set it to sort of pixel, like long edges and stuff like that. There's all sorts of
okay. I'll look into that.
So yeah, that's if you want to compress some size without losing any quality. Do recommend that. Definitely not sponsored.
Definitely not. No.
Not
but
yet.
we are sponsored by Lucky Straps. You can just tell by the t-shirts.
Yeah.
Let me just make a note of that. JPEG Mini, you reckon?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool. Oops.
And it's I'm pretty sure purchased it once and no recurring costs.
No subscription or anything like that. It's just
no. I reckon that they maybe updated it like 3 years ago, and that was maybe a new cost, and it was like half the cost or something like that. And then and like it wasn't dear. So
okay. All right, I might look into that. I think I need to clean up my workflow in general because, like I said, my tagging and labeling is terrible. Because sometimes
what are you doing on like import?
They just go into the all photos folder.
Yeah. Do you do like by date or?
I mean, I can search by date because I can go into the, the metadata and because sometimes I'll be doing like a review, or I might be doing an article about, say, a bunch of Fujifilm lenses. Surprise, surprise. And I'll need some images shot with particular lenses, so I can use the Lightroom filtering attributes.
Yeah, metadata,
The metadata, to look for things shot with that lens and that camera, and
okay. So there's workarounds.
There is some stuff there. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a massive problem, and like I said, I'm on a fresh drive. I've only got a couple of 100 gigabytes, if that, maybe 100 gig total on this new drive so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think just being more mindful about what data do I actually need to keep, and trimming those photos up front. And even then, after I've decided on the photo, especially if it's for an article, once I've got the 20 photos that I'm likely to use in an article, and I've exported them as JPEGs in the size that we need for Shot Kit or for Lucky, and once I know that those images are definitely been approved and they're good and they're in the article and it's published, I might go back and delete a bunch of the other ones I didn't even use. They're similar to the ones I did use, and just keep it really clean.
So when you're importing onto your hard drive, there's no, like, do you name your folders or anything like that to sort of, maybe if you're shooting with
I'll create folders in my catalog. I will do that for particular jobs. Like BFOP, I created folders for BFOP, one for each of the cameras that I used while I was there. And I've called upon those a couple of times when I've done write-ups about BFOP. So I do name. I just need to become more consistent about it. And because often the editing stuff for me, I know it's different for different genres, but the editing stuff for me, I try to keep it as minimal as possible. Because product shots are different, but my street work and travel work and just my general photography stuff, I'd rather not be sitting at a desk editing. I'd rather be out taking more shots, Got another comment here from Me Pop Now. Is that right? Yeah, Me Pop Now. Lightroom is great for keywording. It makes finding images later easy. Yeah, see, that's another thing I want to get into, is that
you can do it on import.
Yeah, add them Yeah. So when you when you guys do a shoot and you import the contents of a card, what is your procedure, Jim?
It depends what job it is. If it's a wedding, it'll get its own catalog specific to that couple, which is just found a lot cleaner on the other end of getting rid of images and finding images. If you've got it, everything's kind of contained to that specific job. Commercial work sort of similar, and then for my boudoir stuff, it's all in the same Lightroom catalog.
Yep.
Which is maybe, I'll see how I go with that. It's a new, I guess, change to not doing everything as its own catalog, and then I guess importing using like the American date system, so like year, month, and then the day, and then a small description about what it is, if it's say BFOP or like the Lucky Apparel shoot the other day.
Okay.
And I find for me that's kind of the easiest way to quickly find things.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I have a little bit of memory of maybe what, when did I shoot that?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was had my iMac and had, I think I have around 85,000 images on the drives associated with that computer. Finding stuff was needle in a haystack sometimes, because I would import it and, get onto the editing and move on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't take the time to sort of make sure that it was locatable, in these ways. So I'm trying to make some fresh new habits now that I've got this new setup. And we can go from there.
Nice.
Yeah. Before we jump to some news, some sort of associated news, but did you have any topics that you wanted to cover off?
I don't think so at the moment. I'm sort of, been laying low. So
you're in limbo still a bit.
I am a little bit. It's a little frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. Your time will come.
Yeah.
Your time will come. Let's jump to a bit of news.
Okay. What do we got?
Well, let me share this screen. We've recently talked, before we jump into that, little bit of a preamble. So we recently talked about, and it's been a topic for a lot of people, not just in the photography world, about how AI is impacting images. Now, obviously, AI is a tool that's used for a whole range of different things, but we're seeing it more and more in photo editing. Mm-hmm. So, Lightroom has some AI elements, like the new denoise function. It uses AI learning. And then yesterday I wrote a review for a new software that's coming out, I think today, called Apparel, which is made by Skylum. Now, Skylum does Luminar Neo, which is a really popular AI-powered photo editing app. And Apparel takes a lot from that, but it's very portrait specific. And I found it really interesting that with that software, I could do very basic edits, but I could also do things like completely remove blemishes, change the shape of someone's eyes, change the shape of their nose, the width of their cheeks. I could add makeup, and it all looked very natural the way that it did. And
this was just AI generated things?
AI generated, yeah. So I was taking portrait shots, and the only thing that looked a bit weird was you can move people's eyebrows up and down. And so the way that, if someone had a fringe, which obviously I don't, if someone had a fringe, it would confuse the part of the fringe for the eyebrows. So it would sort of create like two sets of eyebrows. Yeah. But regardless, it was very impressive, very powerful, not overly cooked. Like, it's not like it was ridiculous. Like, it wasn't doing anime eyes, big, what is it? Puss in Boots from Shrek. But it brought up this kind of, and I mentioned this in my review, that AI is a slippery slope, like, especially when it comes to face and body altering.
Yeah.
Now, I know photographers have been doing it forever. As long as Photoshop's been around, people have been changing the shapes of people's body, especially in portrait, for fashion and those sort of commercial jobs. And plenty of photographers have gotten in trouble for it. And I think making it that readily available is a slippery slope, especially around changing a model's a facial structure or body shape. You know, in this, if you did like a standing shot, you could shrink their midriff, like it was specifically targeting pulling in a waist because, you know, a thin waist is what everyone desires and all of that sort of stuff. And I have a lot of ethical and moral dilemmas with that stuff, because I think as a photographer, if you take a photo of someone, if you get a model or a subject, you can take a photo of them and you're not happy with the way that their body or face structure looks in the shot, well, then that's on you for choosing the wrong model. And I don't think that manipulation of a person's facial structure or body shape is appropriate. I know there's a place for it, and some clients will even want it. If you're doing, you know, shoots for clients, they might even want you to kind of make them look a bit trimmer and that sort of thing. I don't know, because I don't do that sort of work very often. But this is just an example, I guess, of what software is able to do. And there's another software app called Photo AI that will basically take a selfie you've shot on your phone. It's a desktop application. So you take a selfie on your phone, you import it into your computer, and the desktop application will put you in whatever location scenario you want to be in. And you can have lingerie models standing on either side of you. You can make it look like you're riding in a limousine. You can make yourself look tanned and buff. Like, it really is the full AI manipulation treatment that we kind of see the negative stories on. And that's just, obviously, I think that's going way too far. Like, there's fun in it, but there's also a lot of issues that have arisen recently. Even here in Victoria, there was a school where a bunch of kids got in trouble for making AI fakes of their teachers and female classmates in compromising positions. But they looked real, apparently. So how do we protect against that as visual creatives? And we've talked about that on the show a couple of times, but Google are now doing a thing where, and I'm sure that people will work out a way around this. Let me just share this screen. Google Photo. Okay. So Google Photos will now reveal when an image got AI editing. So they're going to develop a way, when you bring up an image in Google search, it will tell you whether it was AI generated or whether it had AI modifications, either partially or wholly. So it's for Google Photos, but the new feature will roll out next week. This was only written a couple of days ago, and will notify users of AI manipulation images they pass through Google Photos, which I think is a good thing. I think that being able to label, and we've seen this in news, and especially with the recent dumpster fire of the US election, where I think one side created fake photos of Taylor Swift, of Kamala. How do you say
Not sure.
Sorry.
You're asking the wrong person.
I'm rambling. You know, where they've created these fake images. Whereas what Google is looking at doing is stepping in and making some means of notifying users of the photos that actually these have been tampered with, in essence. These aren't real. These aren't natural, or they've been altered significantly. And I wonder how that will go with, should you say, edit a photo using Lightroom, and you do use the AI noise reduction or noise cleanup tool, whether it will recognize those as being AI modified.
I wonder if it'll tell you what's done too, you know?
Yeah.
Because it might be something simple like that, that's just cleaning something up, versus a full image that is not real.
Yeah, and I wonder whether, you know, I know that if you use Photo AI, if you use Denoise AI in Lightroom, the file name changes to say AI denoise applied or something like that to the end of the file name. So that means it's baked into the metadata.
It's similar to when you take an image out of Lightroom into Photoshop. You know, it stops being a RAW and it starts being like a TIFF or it doesn't resave itself as a RAW.
Yep.
So yeah, it's probably the same sort of thing. It has to, because it's essentially a new photo. It's a new file.
Yep. So yeah, so this will be, it'll apply a label in the AI info section of an image. It can be found in the detail view. The new labels won't. Here we go. What's this? AI info. Oh, I wish that would stop doing that. It's hurting my head. Generative AI. Is anyone else freaking out over that, or is it just me?
Yeah, I zoomed.
So, according to Google, they'll also specify if a photo is made of or contains elements from several images stitched together through AI technology. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts images that have been edited with pro software. I imagine it will stay the same, because I imagine it's probably going to be, people like Adobe and who else makes software? Anyway, editing software places, will have kind of this certification process built into there when it adds metadata. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I think it's important. And I know that there's this new certification standards that some Fujifilm and Leica have jumped on board with it. Maybe Hasselblad. And I think other companies are looking at getting on board. And it's basically certification to certify that in the metadata that a photo shot with a Fujifilm camera was actually shot with a Fujifilm camera. It is a real image. It's not AI manipulated. So I think the more that companies get on board with that stuff, I think the better it is, because it also protects our professional, our images from being used in creating other images.
Or being put out as real, and when they're not, I guess. Or if they've been manipulated.
Anyway, I just thought that was interesting, because it is a bit of a hot topic, I think, and I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done on protecting our work, but also people from receiving, deep fake kind of images. But yeah, that was that bit of news. And here's a bit of news for you.
Yeah.
Let me just change screen and find another one. I want to get your thoughts on this beast. So Nikon has announced the development of, not necessarily that it's definitely going to happen, but they are developing a Nikon Z 28-135 f4, and it's a power zoom lens.
Morning, Justin. Justin saying hi.
Hey, good morning, boss. Where'd it go? Oh, did you bring it up?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Morning, boys. I wonder if he's got enough juice to dial in. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to tell you where you went wrong with all your photos, mate. So Nikon Z power zoom. I was really surprised when I saw that this was a power zoom. Does Nikon do many power zooms of this nature?
No, not that I know of. It's probably, it's more of a video.
Well, I thought that too. I wonder what the noise from the motors is like if it's for video. But what I thought was really funny was the fact that it's got this wide and telephoto switch like on an old school camcorder. You can either control it from the lens or from dedicated custom buttons in camera. But it's an interesting choice.
It's very odd.
It's obviously a big lens. I mean, it's got a foot.
It's probably quite heavy to have the motor and stuff in there to drive all the units.
Yeah, I guess. I know Fujifilm does one power zoom lens, but it's a really cheapy kind of, it's more for kind of entry level. People that just want a simple zoom approach.
Well, that's the last time I've seen it. As a powers, any kind of zoom that was not manual.
Yeah, especially with that TW. It just took. I think my first Sony, was it my Sony? One of my first Sony cyber shots, digital cameras had a T and a W button because it was a built-in lens.
Yeah,
it was one of those silver ones. They were kind of long, and they took the long, weird memory sticks, the Sony sticks. But yeah, I think this will be interesting.
Justin saying he's very tired and he has almost no internet.
Oh, yeah, we weep for you on holiday in bloody Vietnam. I feel so bad for you.
How hot is it there, and how's the humidity?
Yeah. Because according to the weather forecast, I looked it up this morning, it was 69% humidity. What has he said? Interesting that Nikon went all internal, whereas Canon's new hybrid lenses take the optional power zoom thingy.
I think that would be a better move.
Can you explain that to me?
So I think what he's saying, I haven't seen this, but I'm assuming what it means is that you can add on like a power zoom motor that would then do your zooming in and out for you, but it's essentially like a manual lens otherwise, so you can zoom it in and out with your hand.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming that that's what it is. What he's saying. And then
I think we went over those last week. I think there's 3 lenses that are all the same size, the same build. Gosh, he's got a lot to say this morning.
Yeah, it's like he's on the show.
I know. Guessing that new lens has a lot to do with Nikon buying red. Yeah, you're probably right. Probably.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it's the mount is for red or if it's for Z.
Let me just double check if it said. This is only a development announcement, so no hands-on experience. Yeah, it's to further expand. I believe it's to further expand their offerings in film and video, so cinema, and probably yes, it'll work with Nikon Z, but probably also have the potential to have a red camera with the Z mount in the future. So we'll see. We'll watch this space. But 28 to 135 power zoom. You'd want it to be fairly quick, wouldn't you? That motor to.
Would you though?
Well, I guess in cinema you don't necessarily, but
no, you probably want it to be slow.
Probably not.
Like even my my 35 to 150, you can't sort of really zoom it really fast. It's quite a smooth zoom. It's quite good because you can use it cinematically.
Yeah. Okay.
If you use a shooting video.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of entry. Justin said the Canon's 24 to 105 f2.8 takes a zoom motor, but it's not built in. So it's a separate attachment. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that was most of the news I kind of had today. It's been a bit quiet.
Everyone's probably gearing up for sales, Black Friday and stuff like that.
Yeah, when's that happening? That's coming soon, isn't it?
End of the month.
I've started to see a few little sites saying get in early. Yeah, Black Friday sales start in March. I haven't looked at any of the sales yet, but I've started to see some indicators that it's coming. Does Lucky Straps do a Black Friday sale?
Yeah, we definitely do.
Oh, stay tuned, viewers.
Yeah, I don't know when that's launching, but I'd say it'll be in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, it's hard to know with the boss overseas. Completely shirking his responsibilities, leaving us in the dark, quite literally.
Yeah,
I'm using a candle because I can't afford to pay electricity. Yeah, interesting. I have a little bit of photography news. Tonight I'm going to a touch and try event. I don't know if they call it that anymore. I should probably clarify that.
What are you touching and trying?
What am I touching? It's at Ted's in Melbourne. They often have new camera release events where you can go and see them. And this one's with Fujifilm. No surprises there.
Is it a Fuji camera?
Yeah, it is a Fuji camera. It's to part of the roadshow to show off the new Fujifilm XM5, which is surprisingly, and I reviewed it for ShotKit. It's a great little camera. It's tiny. It's like the size of my X70, which is here, quite little. So that's the X70. I don't have the XM5 anymore. I had to send it back. So that's my X70 compared to my hand. You can see it's tiny, right? So the XM5 is about the same size. It's got the X Processor 5. It's got a 26 megapixel sensor, but its focus performance is currently faster than any of the Fuji flagship X cameras. Wow. Because this is the newest camera. It's the same sensor as the flagship cameras, but they tweaked the firmware, and the focus performance in this entry-level camera is the best in the X series range at the moment.
And it's like it's a small sort of point and shoot.
Yes, well, it's interchangeable lens.
Okay.
But so it takes all the X series lenses.
Must be like all lens and
it's tiny. Actually, I might have a photo of it. Anyway, it's I'll see if I can find a photo of it. XM5. So the XM series has always been an entry-level series for Fujifilm, where they've tried to sort of coerce people away from smartphones and into their first digital mirrorless camera, which makes sense. It's a market that they want to get involved in. Let me just quickly bring this up. Present. Share. So here it is here. XM5. Very classic Fuji look. It doesn't have an EVF. It's tiny, yeah. So there it is with Chris Nichols. That's with the 15 to 45 XC kit lens. So that's a really plastic. It's got a plastic lens mount and everything. I wish they'd do away with it. But X Processor 5, 26 megapixel X Trans 4 sensor. The rear screen's a little dull, but especially because there's no EVF, so it's hard to compose in bright light. But yeah, it's tiny. But because they're going to do a firmware update, I should explain further. They're going to do a firmware update with, it's got a film simulation dial too, to appeal to filter people.
It's a cool looking little camera.
Yeah, it's even got a separate mic port for the hot shoe. This is the thing I didn't like, is that it's got to pop out the screen because it's intended for sort of content creators. It's got good video. It's got a vlog mode. The screen flips out and rotates 180, which for me, I don't like because it instantly doubles the footprint of the camera.
Yeah.
And I found
you'd rather just like a tilty screen rather than a
tilty screen.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So I shot this with a 27mm pancake and the XM5. Just standing next to the skate ramp. The focus and the tracking performance was so amazing. So that was with face. I think that was with eye tracking, but it stuck with her even though she put her face down. But I want to see if I've got. Yeah, there's another one. That was a fun afternoon. Sam, there I am. I just want to see if I've got the photo of it. There we go. That's the XM5 on the new Fujifilm 500mm f5.6.
Yeah.
That's the camera. The little black thing at the end is the camera. There it is there. That's how little it is. But yeah, it's got the best autofocus performance because they're about to do a firmware update in the coming weeks that will bring all of the other flagship cameras up to speed. Oh, we've got a special guest, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring him on in. Hey.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure my things work. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear
you hear us?
Yes.
Cool.
Look, it's Vietnam. Why is this all backwards? Oh, that's hard to hold. Yeah. Anyway, look at this.
Wow.
This is me.
No.
What city are you in?
Ho Chi Minh. Look at this head.
Well,
Yeah.
How long are you there for?
We don't know.
Yeah. So you over there? No plan.
No plan yet. We've got 2 nights booked in this terrible place. We got changed. We got I look rested and cultured. We arrived at I don't even know what time last night. The plane was late, and then they changed where we were supposed to be staying. They were like, "Oh, there's a problem with the air conditioner, so we'll send you to this other building." And it was all just weird. You know, it's like
that old
very
stitch
weird. That old stitch up, exactly. Yeah, there's this lovely place, but you can't stay there. We've got a different place for you.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's okay. It's a 3-bedroom. Well, we don't need a 3-bedroom. We want the place with the nice room. Anyway, I'm here.
No.
The internet, I don't think the internet's very good. Can you guys hear okay?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay.
And so what
Camera's
plans?
shaky.
No plans at all.
No, we'll go somewhere. Like, so we're going to do about half the time in Ho Chi Minh and half the time somewhere else. Probably midway up the country, like Hoi An, or Hugh. Like, yeah, fly into Hoi An or Hugh or somewhere like that. Maybe get trained somewhere. That's our loose
Wow.
plan at the moment.
Cool.
That's a
So,
cool
yeah.
adventure.
Yeah, take some photos. That's the thing.
Yeah. So did you just what gear did you decide to pack in the end?
I took the Q3, the R5 Mark II, the 50mm 1.2, which is so heavy,
Yeah.
so heavy, and what else did I take? I took the 50mm 1.8 as well in case I want to walk around with a lighter lens.
Yep.
The
So you packed
28mm.
light.
So you packed two of the same lenses basically in case you needed a lighter one.
In case I wanted to, what I want to do is come away with a really good feeling for what the Canon with the 28 is like versus the Leica with the 28.
Okay.
Yeah, I might even do a photo walk with both of them, which will be annoying, and shoot photos back to back and actually see.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. What are you gonna do with the 250s?
I'll just I'll only take one out at a time. So it's just if I want to head out and I don't want to carry the heavy thing, I think I'm going to buy that new Canon 1.4 50, and then have all the 50s.
You're going to buy it there in Vietnam and then have them all there at the same time?
No, it's not out yet, unfortunately. But if it was out, I would have bought it to bring it over here. I think it would be perfect, and then I would probably end up getting rid of the other two, I would imagine. So
Interesting.
Because something,
you get rid of the 1.2.
only if the 1.4 is good enough.
Yeah.
So far, reports are that it is pretty good. It's always hard to know. The 1.2 is pretty special.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about the images you and Jim shot for the merch. Straps merch. That was you both shot with a 51 too?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, Greg. It's up. It's live. It's all
it's
available for purchase.
I know. We've
That's
already showcased
we've done that.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, we did a plug for you while you're away enjoying your holiday.
And
exactly.
Greg could definitely tell which is with the inferior Canon images.
Interesting.
Yeah, they were a bit soft. They were a bit soft.
Uh-huh.
We've got a comment in the comments we've got from David Mascoro. Hey David, I believe this is towards you. Do you use a guide there, Justin?
In Vietnam,
I assume so.
I haven't planned it at all, but I did actually think I might look into something. Oh, what we would normally do, rather than like a photography guide or something like that, or for a trip, we would usually jump on smaller stuff, like usually food tours. We'll try and find someone that runs a quality, more kind of low. Like it's hard to find which food tours are good and which aren't. Sometimes you just got to risk it and see how they go. But find someone that can show you around, but not necessarily from a photography perspective. And then I usually find my own stuff during those tours. But I did see, when I was reading about photography in Vietnam, I did see someone recommend a photography tour, and I did think maybe there is a guy that runs a tour in Ho Chi Minh, and I thought I'll put it on my maybe list in case I'm looking for something to do. I haven't really done that before, so.
Big cool video.
Yeah, exactly. I did bring
fun.
my little video camera, so hopefully I'll make a video or two while I'm here. We'll see.
With your phone, you took 4 cameras.
Yeah.
Your iPad as well?
Yeah.
That's 5.
Yeah, because we flew Jetstar and everything's optional on Jetstar, and I couldn't bring myself to pay for the entertainment, the optional extra.
How long was your flight?
It was 8 hours, but it was delayed by an hour. It was 8.5 hours, and it was delayed by an hour, sort of at the start, and then then when we landed, there's no gate to pull into and all that sort of stuff, and then long customs lines, the usual. Usual. That was all sort of okay. It was when you're looking to check into a hotel after midnight, and they're like, "Oh no, not this one."
Yeah,
And
broken.
yeah, like Jim said, it's a classic scam. They just book places out and then just send you wherever.
Yeah, you were the last guy to check in, so they sent you down
somewhere else.
Yeah, they're full.
Yeah.
What a bugger.
Watch out for that, because it was through Booking.com, who I book with all the time. But they've got a lot of listings that are basically Airbnbs now, and it's very hard to tell the difference between. This one had a lot of good reviews, but yeah, I don't know. Got to be watching.
Yep.
Watch out for those scammers.
David also said, it is a good view. David said, my daughter and I were going to visit Vietnam, but COVID came along. I heard the way is to see things by train or motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to do a 4-day motorcycle trip up north, but when we added everything up in our itinerary, it takes so long to get around. It was basically going to be to do the 4-day motorcycle trip was going to take our entire 10 days basically in transit to get up there and get back. So we were like, no, I think we want a slower paced trip with a lot more walking around and looking around than that. But we do want to jump on a train, and I ride scooters and stuff, so I'll probably rent a scooter once we get out of Ho Chi Minh into one of the smaller places like up around Hoi An. I think is pretty safe for me to scooter around.
Nice.
And what about public transport options? Like, I don't know what Vietnam has.
I don't know either. Other than the trains, they've got the trains that run up the coast, which are very popular, like from north to south, etc. And they're sleeper trains and stuff, and they're longer journeys.
Yeah.
But are you talking about around the city?
Like around cities, like it'd be great if you could jump on the back of a motorbike with your camera.
Well, this is the thing. You can. And also, sorry, I bought one more lens. I forgot to say, I actually brought specifically the 24-105 f4 Canon lens for two reasons. One, because of what you said, we might end up on motorbikes, and I might jump on the back of a motorbike for a food tour or something, and I want to just be able to shoot while I'm going. And I thought that would be a very easy way to be able to take a lot of photos from the back of the bike.
Yeah.
Having that variety. And also after we had on, who was that great street photographer from the other week from South
John,
Australia?
John?
Was it John? John Street. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. How do I forget that name? Street photography. Yeah. When he talked about just walking around with like a super zoom lens and his photos look great. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to give that a try one day.
Yep.
But I think primes are my thing, but I'm going to give it a go. He inspired me.
No. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And so what time is it there now? It's quite early, isn't it?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. And is it hot already?
Look, it's hot where I'm standing because I'm on the balcony. I wanted to show you guys the view, but there's one,
your air conditioners.
2, 3, 4 split systems, absolutely just pumping hot air at me. So I don't really know how hot it is out there.
Yeah.
But it feels hot where I am. Do you see the sweat?
I can. Yeah.
You're like in a hot box.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
In a sauna.
Well, the view wasn't as good in our apartment.
Yep. And so can you show us the view?
Yeah. I want to drop this camera over the edge. But yeah, so
Oh, nice.
it's like maybe a school or something down there. I don't know. You guys can see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks like a school building, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a school building, and then it's a really nice view.
Yeah.
And I think there's a river on the other side of us.
Behind
because
you?
behind this building, because the other place we booked had a river view.
Uh,
So it's around here somewhere.
or maybe the river was a scam too.
It might have been.
AR photos.
Yeah, AI rivers.
Very cool. So did you guys you looked at my submission for this week's photo challenge?
We did.
Or,
Yeah, we
good. Okay. Yeah. Oh, good. Because I need to make sure that I'm done. That's week 2 in the books, and
I think you've done well.
3.
We did talk about how image 11 and 12 were similar, but I did mention how you had to replace image 11.
Yeah. And Image 11, the original Image 11 was the one that made the whole series, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
okay, fair enough.
Sounds like I've pulled the same scam that my hotel place did.
Yeah.
I just had to switch it
pretty
out
much.
last minute, and it's not as good.
No,
No,
it's fine.
and
No, it
Greg
was
and I
really
had
good.
different favorite photos.
Yeah.
Did you?
Mhm.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, oh, hello.
Oh,
The dog in the room all of a sudden. I don't know how she got in. So my favorite was of your nephew with the water up to
yeah.
here, and there's a very
Yeah.
thin focal plane.
Yeah, that's the 51.2 at 1.2. That'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, we wanted to know, were you in the pool with the camera or were you on the edge?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My dad's going, so that camera's waterproof, is it? And I was like, not really.
Yeah.
Like, splash proof a little.
I did say to Greg, I was like, he's in the pool. I know Justin,
Yeah,
and I
Jim
know
knows.
that he's in the pool.
Jim knows.
Justin started making a bit of a name for himself when we photograph weddings. If there was water, he had to be photographed from inside it, regardless of if it was worthwhile or not. So we would always be shoes off or...
Yeah. Look, it was partially about trying to get a good photo, a different photo, but it was it became a little bit of an element of like showmanship of you take your shoes off, go the extra mile, you get in the water, you get the camera low down to the water and get a cool shot that someone else might not get. And then
It's also usually pretty hot too.
Exactly. But that did eventuate into like Jim getting in swimming pools with the bride and groom. I got into a dam with the bride and groom.
Wow.
It escalated.
Yeah.
Nice. But no, we both found that it kind of invoked memories for us too. The story of, those sort of hot days where you're excited to be going to the pool, whether it be family or friends or local pool or whatever, and your parents, putting sun cream on, and then even as a dad doing it to my kids. And there was all these sort of sensations around that, the smell of sun cream and the idea of just wanting to get in the water and
I think they're the bits that often get missed, and I miss them. Those shots that even if you're just taking some family shots at an event like that, or that wasn't an event, it was just a swim. But they're the shots that you probably wouldn't normally take, I think. And that's what I'm trying to make sure that I incorporate into this challenge.
I think as well, those in between photos, like for me, the photo of Nash getting some sunscreen on, that's every kid ever has had, mum or dad smash some sunscreen onto their face.
It is just like grumpy.
Do I have to do this?
But looking at it, you almost, close your mouth tight in anticipation of not getting sun cream in your mouth. It's that there's something really, there's lots of memories attached to that.
We've all been there.
We have all been there. Aussie kids, for those of you that are listening outside of Australia, did your parents smear sunscreen all over you? David's also dropped in a comment. My dad and brother served there. Chu Lai and Da Nang. I wanted to see where they served. Both are gone now.
You haven't visited yet, David?
They were going to visit, but COVID came along.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
it's early.
Yeah.
Make the trip, David. I mean, my first 12 hours have been wonderful. But
You've already been
I think
scammed.
it's going to be... I've already been scared. Well, I mean, I'd put it it's borderline scared. It's not, we've got a place to stay.
Yeah.
Did you get scanned by the taxi drivers?
No, we use Grab, which is basically a different brand of Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great.
Yeah, nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're excited. Hopefully next week I'll have some more photos, some better photos. Maybe not better, different.
Yep. Now, I'll explain what your challenge was at the start of today's podcast and talk about how you have been lost creatively for so long that you now need a new project.
wandering in a desert of
Yeah,
of bad photos.
yeah, bad photos. But I think it's a good challenge. I think your first set of photos are great. I think they really told a story and took us there too, because I think we've all experienced that kind of scenario for the most part in some form or another. So I think it's good. I think you hit the mark.
Thanks. Solid C+ effort.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, deep.
There were some compositional issues and some exposure problems, but the story's great.
Oh, it's so hard shooting level photos when you can't touch them, like horizon level photos.
Yeah.
There was one photo that bugged me, and then I was like, oh yeah, you can't crop it.
Can't touch it. Can't do anything.
The one of jumping into the pool, I'm like, it's so wonky, and I'm like, normally Justin is really good at
Yeah.
but you can't obviously crop it. And
I'm telling you, people, it'll open your eyes. Shoot straight out of camera for a while, and you'll realize you kind of suck at photography. All the things that you notice in when you're editing, you notice when you look at the JPEGs, and you're like, I can't change it.
Do anything. Yeah. I went on a photo walk last week with a fellow Fujifilm street shooter, and I set us the challenge of black and white JPEGs. And
I saw that photo you posted.
Oh, the lady getting ready for the cup, at the station.
Yeah.
Because it's Melbourne Cup week. Well, it's the Spring Racing Carnival week this week, and we just had Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. For those of you not from Melbourne, it's a Melbourne-only public holiday in Australia and Victoria. But you guys in Bendigo, you have your own Cup Day, don't you?
We have Bendigo Cup.
Is that a public holiday?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, you get the Wednesday off if you have a job.
They made it Wednesday. They made for normal people, for normies, they made it Wednesday because then they were like, they won't take the day before or the day after to make it a long weekend.
Yeah,
that was literally the strategy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But yeah, lots of people strutting around the city this week of Melbourne in their power suits and their frocks. Quite an interesting observation as a street photographer to see this sort of, it's almost like a migration of people that are not normally from Melbourne, don't normally dress like that, don't normally appear in those places, that all of a sudden show up and fill the city. And they're quite, I think because there's an energy around the Cup Festival, the carnival for them, that they stand out. Their behavior is so different compared to the normies, as you say, that are going about their days. So it makes for an interesting juxtaposition when you're taking street shots to see these people all in glamour, at the start of the day. It doesn't always end up that way. But
no. You didn't do a photo walk at like when the trains were coming home from the Cup?
No, I thought about it, but I was done. I was already done. I've got one. I don't know if I got onto. Yeah, so I'm doing the XM5 photo walk with Fujifilm and Ted's cameras this afternoon or tonight.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I want to hear more about that. I better go though, because I do. I'm mindful that I've probably burnt through my entire SIM card that I bought streaming this, because the Wi-Fi was definitely not enough to stream. So I better go and hopefully save some of that. But I want to hear about that XM5 and see if it's going to be like, is that a new Greg kind of camera? Because I heard before I jumped on that the autofocus is epic. So is it going to be a new little street camera for you, Greg? That's what I want to hear.
It's tempting, but I'll let you go, and we'll talk about it a little bit more before we wrap up.
Okie dokie.
All right.
Catch you.
Take care.
Have fun.
Be safe.
Thanks.
See you, Justin.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. That was Justin live from Vietnam. It's about 6 a.m, and it's probably hot. Definitely humid.
Very hot in that balcony by the look of it.
Yeah, he was very red and sweaty, shiny by the end, wasn't he? So the Fujifilm XM5 for street photography. Look, I don't need lightning fast autofocus for street photography. It's nice to have good focus performance. It doesn't need to be lightning fast for me anyway. The only time I kind of miss it is if there's people are moving or bikes are moving through a scene and I want to catch someone on a bike. I always struggle with that. But the XM5 is the perfect size for a street photography camera for me. It doesn't have an EVF. That doesn't bother me because my X70 to have here doesn't have an EVF. It's just got a screen, but the screen just naturally tilts up.
Yeah,
As you
perfect.
can see. So when I'm shooting from, and it also tilts down 45. If you can see that. So when I'm shooting street, I'm usually holding it at just sort of at tummy height or at hip height, looking down at the LCD that's facing up. Sometimes I won't even have the LCD out, and I'll just basically point and shoot and hope for the best, depending on the situation. The XM5 is great. I love that it's small. I love that it's got a great image sensor. It's got an excellent processor. It does have all the fancy tracking and focus performance of a flagship Fujifilm camera because it's got the latest processor in it. The rear touchscreen, the rear screen is dull. So it's only just on a million dots, sorry. It's only just on a 1,000,000 dot screen, and in bright light, it's terrible. I couldn't see anything going on the screen. So composing cleaner shots was really challenging. I almost had to create, my own shadows just to see the screen. And as a result, I wasn't focusing on the compositions, and, it was changing the way that I had to shoot. And because I think I showed you guys in the photo earlier, because the screen, because it's got this sort of, it's targeting younger influencers type photographers. And because it's got that screen, which I'll just show you again, Fujifilm XM5 review. So as you can see, it's got this flip out screen, which is great. And it's handy for different angled shooting. But as a street photographer, I found it just made the camera feel twice as big. Because as you can see,
almost doubles the footprint. Right?
Well, yeah, because the screen takes up, almost all of it.
Yeah, 80% of the back
Because
of
it's
the
such
camera.
a small camera. That's a 3-inch screen. So it's really only like a 4.5-inch camera, if that. Once you flip it out like that, all of a sudden, you're a different looking photographer. And street, I like to be discreet. I like to be calm and in the moment. And I don't need my gear to be flashy or showing off that I'm actually taking photos, because I like to capture candid stuff mostly.
Well, it kind of it takes it away from being almost just your hand as well.
Yeah.
It would.
Yep. Yeah. And shooting from the hip is awkward because I like to change my aperture on the go. So my left hand is usually, that's not the lens I would shoot street with, but say with a 27mm pancake, I'll have my left hand on the aperture ring. And having the screen out like that, just so I can see a composition, especially if I'm shooting low, it's really annoying. It just gets in the way. So that's the downside of it. If it was a flip up, flip down screen, like if they did like this one, which was one of the oldest Fuji cameras, they made the screen flip up 180 degrees. So you can do selfie mode.
Yeah.
I wish they'd done that with this rather than the twist out screen. However, the reason why they did that is if you have a look at this photo, you'll see that there's these two mounts here. So these two mounts are actually for the Fujifilm. It's like a fan unit that you bolt that mounts to the back of the XH2, the XH2S. So these are flagship videography cameras from Fujifilm. And now this little XM5, you can actually add the cooling fan for long form video recording, which I think is amazing, that given that this entry level camera that's for younger, budget friendly influencer types is actually, not only does it currently have better than flagship level autofocus, but it can actually take a flagship intended accessory to optimize what you can do with videography.
It's interesting.
Which I think is really impressive. Because the other thing it had was, where was that image of it? Sorry, everyone. So it's got the film simulation dial, but on the right, it's got your pretty standard PASM dial, but it's also got the vlog and video modes on there, ready to quickly flick it into video mode and start recording your vlogs. It's got directional audio recording, so you can set it to focus on who the camera's pointed at, or only, or focused on the holder of the camera, or you can choose sort of like a 360 degree audio capture for it, which is pretty impressive for such a little camera. Look, I liked it. I liked it for its size. I don't know that it would be very usable as a street photography camera for the reasons I've listed. There's no reason why you couldn't. Any camera can be a street camera. You know, any camera can do anything if you just point it and shoot it.
Yeah.
But in terms of practical application, it's a little fiddly. And I'm not a fan of PASM dials. I'd rather have a shutter speed dial there, like all the other Fuji cameras. So yeah, to answer Justin's question, it would be good for street, as any camera would, but it has some complicated elements to it that make it a bit less
clunky.
Meaningful. Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, you're right, clunky. Yeah, the other camera I was looking at getting was the Ricoh GR3. So Ricoh Pentax or Ricoh Imaging make the GR models. They always have, even since the film days. And the GR3, there's now a GR3X, a GR3 HDF, which has a different filtering system in the glass, and a Ricoh GRX HDF. And then they've got all these other street urban diary editions. There's so many editions of that camera. But it's so hard to get one in Australia. Like, they came into stock. I think we talked about it last week or the week before. They came to stock and people said, yeah, they're in camera stores. And by the time I looked that afternoon, all the camera stores I usually look at had sold out.
Wow.
And stock is now like Christmas Eve. And Fujifilm are having a similar issue with a lot of their gear.
That they can't produce enough stock.
Yeah, they can't meet demand. The X100F, that happened, and it's happened again with the X106. You know, it's proved to be one of the most popular cameras, and despite its $3,000 price tag, it's perpetually out of stock in a lot of places. Some places are starting to get it in, but that camera launched, you know, months and months and months ago, and the demand's been so high, which is great, you know. And they're handy little cameras, especially if you're traveling or something like that.
Yep.
You know, if you're the sort of person that likes to take 4 to 5 cameras and multiple copies of basically the same lens, then you know, then go for it. How does he get all of that stuff on carry-on? It's Jetstar.
Maybe he just took one pair of shorts and then the rest is camera gear.
Maybe, because they make you put it into the cage and they weigh it at Jetstar. If you
just do it, Ido, and you just pack your pockets with all of that stuff, run the camera around your neck.
Put four t-shirts on, 3 jumpers, 2 jackets.
All my heavy accessories I pack on me in case I get asked. And then I put it back in my bag. Yeah,
that's a good idea. I'm sure lots of people do that. But yeah, that's what's happening with Fujifilm at the moment. Any gear acquisitions on your horizon that you're interested in?
Not at the moment. No. Just
so you're happy with Nikon then?
Yeah, I'm happy. It's all working, doing what it's supposed to do. Well, it's not doing much at the moment, but it's previous to that, it was doing really well. I'll probably get some new cards, just things like that. I do want to eventually get rid of all my F-mount lenses. When there's a decent, like a Z equivalent. But yeah, there's a couple lenses that aren't up to scratch for what I want yet. So
well, it's good that you've got choice.
Yeah, and like they do work really well, but the Z mounts are like far superior.
And so you've got F mount lenses from when you were shooting your D850s and your DSLRs.
And a couple lenses that I'm not ready to let go of yet. So
nice.
What? Sorry, I was going to say there's a couple of questions from David. He said,
yes.
Have you guys tried the ZF for street?
Not yet.
And no, I haven't actually shot with the ZF. Be keen to try it.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Curtis, he does a lot of motorsport photography, but he got one and he found he just can't put it down. He loves it. So I'd be keen to give it a shot.
Might sway you away from the dark side.
Hey, maybe. No, I think I'll always shoot Fujifilm. I need the small. I mean, even though it's a smaller camera, the ZF is still a brick.
Mm.
You know, it's still a full frame camera. What else has David had to say? I think he's had issues with the ZF screen. Agree. Same with the ZMF. This is an earlier comment. Sorry, guys. And the final one that just dropped in was the hit rate is off the hook. So that's good.
Mm. Yeah. The Z series is a good camera. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're fast, aren't they?
Mm.
So that's I did look at the Ricoh GRs. Aside from the stock, you know, it's still a big chunk of money to invest for me anyway. I've got two perfectly good cameras that I love and have no intention to upgrade at this stage. Of course, if Fujifilm Australia are listening, I'm always welcome. Or you guys are always welcome to send me stuff. I'll never knock it back. But other than that, I've got a couple of lenses I'm going to sell. They're lenses I got sent for review. They're manual focus X-mount lenses made by Typoc. They're kind of a bit like Leicas. But I don't really have anything else that I want to acquire for my camera system. If anyone at home or anyone watching along, listening along, is currently thinking about, you know, we're coming up to Christmas, maybe you deserve a little, maybe you have been on the nice list, maybe you deserve a little treat, maybe you like to buy yourself a little photography treat every year at this time. Let us know in the comments what's on your radar at the moment for new gear acquisition. Is it necessary, or is it pure gas and FOMO driving that desire? But yeah, we'd look forward to seeing what you guys have to say about your Christmas wish list. But on that note, I think we might wrap it up, Jim. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So good to have you back, Jim. We've missed you on the show. We've made plenty of jokes at your absent expense. But it is good to see you back. Will we see you next week?
I think I'm away next week. I think I've got an appointment in the morning. So
okay. I'll have to find another co-host because we have on the show Dennis Smith, who is a light painting artist and photographer who is incredibly enthusiastic, probably too much for me to handle on my own. So I'll have to track down a bit of a co-host.
I can probably drop in
next week
a bit later.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely. And Justin might be in a better internet spot by then. So we've got Dennis next week. And we haven't made any plans yet as we move towards Christmas, whether we'll stop for a couple of weeks and have a break or I mentioned it to Justin last week. He said you get 3 days off. That's it. So we'll see what actually happens.
Surprised you got 3.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Must be feeling generous.
He must be feeling generous. Not like him. He doesn't have a generous spirit. But you guys have been listening and watching the Camera Life podcast. This is episode 37. It's the 7th of November, coming to you from Victoria, Australia. I'm in South Yarra. Jim's in Bendigo. Look, if you're watching along for the first time, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified. We stream every Thursday morning. However, we are looking at adding some impromptu streams in the not too distant future. And often Justin drops some of his daily challenge videos on the channel. So keep an eye out for those. If you hit the notification button, then obviously you'll get either forewarning or you'll get notification once a new video drops. If you want to catch up, please check out our back catalogue. It's available on YouTube and also on audio podcast channels. So you can pretend to work and listen to us at the same time. But on that note, thank you for joining, Jim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you again. Rest up. I hope you recover fast. And for those watching along and reading and listening along, get out and shoot this weekend. Just pick a street, go for a walk.
Take your camera somewhere.
Park, take it somewhere. David's just dropped very quickly. Just stumbled on you guys. Subscribed. Yes. David.
Thanks,
David. Now our 4th subscriber. Thank you.
We'll be back next week.
We will be back next week. And every week after that, apparently. Look, thanks for joining, and everyone have a great week and weekend ahead. Stay safe. And for our friends in the United States, I'm really sorry. But we'll leave it on that note, and we'll see you next week. All right,
Cool.
toodaloo for now. Bye,
See you later.
everyone. You could have made the music.
We also don't have any outro music because Justin's not here, so you just have to.
No, but
pretend.
you said you were going to sing.
Oh, we can dance.
Oh, we'll just dance. We'll just pretend. Oh, that's worse than singing. All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
Signing off for now. Bye.
Bye.